Hi, I'm Alex Archbold, and I've been buying and selling antiques since I was 9 years old. From basements to scrapyards, I'll look just about anywhere I can to find lost antiques and collectibles. And sometimes I'll go big and buy everything. I never know what's going to happen or who I'm going to meet. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc. Hey guys, and welcome back to today's episode. I have been going through this massive estate clear out that we've been doing. Usually when we do an estate clear out, you guys get to see me finding the stuff in the cupboards in the basement and all that. This wasn't the case this time. The fellow that owned all the stuff was a little bit on the shy side and didn't want me filming in the house. And most things were boxed up already. So he said, bring your trailer and fill it up. And that's what we did. But that means the discovery is happening right now because the boxes were closed and shut and sealed, and so I only have a vague idea of what might be in here. But let's get the trailer opened up and get to work. All right, well, last episode I found a pile of slot car sets, and it looks like I still might have a few more back there. We found all kinds of radios, some Fisher-Price collectibles, and I am going to continue the dig through this pile here, and my goal is to try and get this all emptied out. I don't have much time because we're doing an auction sale coming up fairly soon. So I don't really have a lot of leeway to get this all sorted, inventoried, and out the door. But this big giant box, that's a good candidate to drag out. And I guess I'm gonna have to drag all these little boxes out here before too long as well. So let's hope we find some other treasures amongst all this stuff. I'm almost certain there will be, but I guess I'll start by bringing some of the stuff in off the top here, like these old train and slot car transformers. We'll get those out of the way, and then we'll see if we can drag that big box inside. Now, the fellow I bought this from was a very big video game collector, but back in the 70s and early 80s when it was still just kind of brand new. And so we found kind of traces of that. Like here's an old monitor that you would use with an arcade setup in your house. Look at that inside. But also, occasionally I'm finding these trays of games. Like these, I believe, yeah, Commodore cartridges, Cloudburst, Story Machine, Crossfire, really good graphics on there. Very early video games, Outworld. So I'll have to, what I've been trying to do is keep the games for the system that it belongs with separate until I find, hopefully there's the Commodore that goes with it. I was keeping this Apple, I guess I should say the Macintosh computer, very early Mac. I was keeping this aside because I didn't have the cable, and then sure enough I found the cable. Oddly, they still use the same gray color for their cables to this day, so it was easy to identify the Apple cable that went with it. I've kept aside some of the slot car sets I thought were cool, like the Dukes of Hazzard, Fall Guy, the Mask train set, and the Mask slot car set, A-Team, and so forth. I've kept some of those aside, and also some of the cooler radios, and I'll figure out what to do with those later on. So the odd little game set here too, like Orbit, the Modern Family Space Age game. It sounds like something like the Modern Stone Age family, the Modern Space Age family game. Anyway, so I've been keeping the Fisher-Price stuff separate, hoping that I'll find the figures and accessories to go with it, and I can put those together. But let's go back out to the trailer now and see if I can get this box cleared off. I made sort of a little path here, but I'm gonna have to make a bigger path for it to slide out of here. This old Motorola flip phone, randomly lying on the floor. Like, such a random assortment of stuff. It kind of feels like a storage unit buy, but actually with good stuff in it as well. A lot of times you get a storage unit, all you get is like a hedge trimmer or stuff like this, a metal vent that, like, what the heck am I going to do with that? But in this case, we've got actual antique toys. We've got Tonkas, early board game here. So let's try and find the right home for this stuff inside the garage. I think I saw the cab of that fire truck actually in the garage. Let's go find out. Part of the reason that I've got this little space in here is so I can sort just as I'm doing, but I saw this, if I can reach it, at the bottom of the box, and I'm fairly certain, in fact, really certain, look at that. That makes a complete set. So good to set stuff aside to sort, not be too hasty. I could have just put that cab up for sale, but now we got a complete little fire truck there. There should be a blade on the front of this, I believe, kind of like that guy has. But that's an earlier piece. That's an old Structo. Let's see what else. Okay, I was able to drag this big giant box in, and we'll go through it in just a minute. On the top, we have a 1992-93 Calgary Frames uncut sport card set. And it looks like it was a limited edition thing at the time. I believe I have some other sport cards to find because there was a box labeled that way. I've not had a look through it. I did, however, find this antique lamp, and wrapped in plastic the other day, or wrapped in foam, I found the hurricane shade for it. So I can actually put these two together, and I've got a complete lamp right there. Toy table is filling up. Actually, I'll probably have to move some of this stuff out of the way because I'm gonna need room on the table to go through that box. Gosh, these things are heavy duty. I mean, that toy has been played with, left in the sandbox. It probably still works just fine. They really, I mean, when they say, well, they don't build them like they used to, I mean, really, this is heavy steel stuff that your youngster could play with, ride on, actually dig a giant hole in your backyard. You could do real construction work with these things. I'm not kidding. I'm sure many people watching had a Tonka dump truck like that. I know I did. And I remember riding it down a hill numerous times without it taking any kind of damage at all. Okay, what do we have in here? Looks like a picture. Oh, it's an art print. E.J. Hughes, 1969. That's kind of interesting. I'll set that over there for now. Event. I do have a box of stuff that I'm giving to charity. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It looks like it's practically brand new. So this is my box of charity stuff right there. And we'll continue to dig through this big giant box here that once held the toilet. Not any longer. Let's get that out of the way. Shake, America's fastest action game. Oh, look at this. These are kind of beat up, but those are, or I should say rather were, Redline Hot Wheels in not so fantastic shape. But they're good for parts or repair, and these are the most desirable of the Hot Wheels, are the ones that have the Redline tires from that series, you know, from the Sweet 16, the early sets. And although a lot of these are missing the wheels, you can buy wheels, so some good bits and pieces there, a whole bucket of Redline Hot Wheels. Everybody who's watching that knows me knows that I actually collect these things, albeit I'm looking for them in slightly better condition. That's a noodle head, missing wheels and stuff, but still cool. Structural building set. Pam and Andy. I don't know why I said it like that. It's not like I recognize it, but that is kind of cool. It's like a girder. You could build little skyscrapers and stuff to play with your cars. Yeah, it looks like it's got the instructions and stuff there. It's kind of neat. There's another one, a girder and panel set, slightly newer. Same idea though. It's more modern generation. And okay, we got Lego. Oh, there's more cars. Let's pull this bucket out and see what we got here. What do we have? Looks like some project cars. It's part of a slot car, it looks like. Ratchet racers, no, that's something different. And some little tiny HO scale looking cars. There's decals and stuff for, I guess, maybe he was doing some restoration at one point, bits and pieces. I also like to do that. Oh, look, there's There's tires for Redline cars, not in the greatest shape. Tires for all sorts of other vehicles. This looks like bits and pieces here. Restoration stuff, wheels and tires. And actually a lot of that will come in fairly handy. Nice little old T-Bird Matchbox. It's seen better days. So these are, yeah, as suspected, sort of project vehicles and stuff. Oh, I wonder if Uri Geller was here. There's a bent spoon, or bent fork. Silver-plated fork that's in nasty shape. Okay, random assortment of stuff in this bucket. Let's keep digging. I think, yeah, I see some old Lego in here. Lego, always collectible, especially if you have the original box. And this one is, I can feel it's all in there. That'd be a very early set. Actually, this whole box looks like it's just chock full of Lego from top to bottom, except for maybe this, which looks like it's more, I don't know what this is. Oh, it's fishing lures? Yeah, it's all old tackle and fishing lures. Okay. Let's see if we get the elastic off and see what's in here. Yep. Fishing gear. I'll try not to get myself hooked on one. I wonder if somebody must say that. I'm hooked on fishing lures when you're a big collector of them. Literally. Okay. Mystery box. Oh boy. Something spilt open in there. I'm gonna have to dig in and get that out. That's a lot of Lego. A lot of Lego. Is there a note on this? What does it say? 5 1/4-inch diskettes. What are these, floppy disks? Weird. A whole bunch of new floppy disks. Still in the packaging. Brand new floppy disk. Well, you probably don't come across those too often. Error-free, formatted for DOS. Well, I mean, that is something they're definitely not making anymore, to my knowledge anyway. And we'll get some of this Lego out. See if I could, I'm gonna try and reach in there and pull that out without dumping everything all over the place. Well, as it turns out, most of this box is all Lego, and they've got it separated into white pieces, blue pieces, black pieces, tires. The thing that's valuable, though, is generally the minifigures, or if you have a complete set, like the old castle sets or space sets. And the space sets did use a lot of this blue. So hopefully I can find some instructions, maybe piece some of these original sets back together, because they are the right age. They're from the 70s, so if they're the style that had the minifigures, they can be quite valuable, sometimes worth hundreds of dollars each. That's going to take a little bit more work than what I have in me right now, though. So as I dig deeper into the trailer, I can see that I'm getting close to the Commodore 64 computer sets. We've got some constructs and some robotics in the original boxes. I see a Fisher-Price fire station back there. And you might say, Alex, well, don't you remember loading this in the trailer? Well, no, I don't, because my sons were loading the trailer up for me after I did the first few boxes. So a lot of this is just discovery for me at this point, which is kind of fun. But I do need to start hauling some more of this stuff in so we can have a look at it. So let's start bringing in the Commodore 64 set and some of these other controllers. Started hauling some stuff out, like the Tonka trucks, just to make myself a little bit of room while I sort. And I've got this peculiar looking case. It kind of looks like the same sort of case they'd use for like a little miniature gramophone or something, but let's open it up and see. Oh, it's a tube tester. Okay, so this is probably what, 1930s or 40s, judging by the way it's styled. But yeah, especially that wooden box. You put your tube in there, and it tells you whether the tube's good or poor. Probably would come in handy with all those. I'm not going to take the time to test each and every one of those tubes, but tube testers are actually a pretty handy thing to have around if you're doing repairs on radios or guitar amplifiers and you need to know what's going on. Pretty handy. And then there's a chart there that tells you what type of tube you need and that sort of stuff too. So pretty cool. Very neat little thing. Now here's a memory and a blast from the past I'm not afraid to share. When I was a kid, when I was a child, I had one of these. I think we picked it up secondhand at a yard sale or something. But it's I probably had that same haircut too. This is a 1980s, early 80s Fisher-Price record player. And the neat thing about this was they made it really user-friendly for kids to use, but it was an actual record player. You could play 45s or 33s. And so this was kind of the start of my love of music, was on one of these things. And I'd go to yard sales and I'd find 45s of like the Troggs and the Guess Who and Rolling Stones. And I'd play those on this exact record player. And that was the first time I kind of got in touch with music as a young kid. So kind of a sweet little memory there, and nice to find one with the original box. Of course, mine didn't have the box. It was just like that. But really, really cool piece, and functional too. I mean, heck, you could still play an actual record on it. So cool to find that with the box. And we are finding a few things with boxes. I've got this old, really old, possibly antique Parker Brothers Monopoly game. And another photo hobby outfit that's got the, looks like simple, easy use, easier use your kitchen or bathroom as a workroom. I'm sure the wife was real happy about that. And here we've got little hobby printer tin. We've got the developing fluid station, the lights, the whole thing. So it's a whole kit, and it has its box too. This is a little bit more elaborate than the other kit that we found earlier. So that's neat. There's a bunch of boxes too that are just full of generic stuff kind of thrown in, like this Dominic Hasek starting lineup figure, and a random antique bicycle seat with no leather saddle left on it. Looks like a little mechanical. Oh, it's a bank. It's a duck bank. It looked like a wind-up at first. There's been a few oddball little mechanical things here. This looks like a little, maybe that's a slide viewer. It looks like it lights up and you could put a slide on there. I'm not 100% sure. So we'll do a little digging through these boxes and see what we have. Oh, there's an old soldering iron. We'll try and put some of this stuff into likely homes. Polaroid 600 plus. Oh, it's a Polaroid. It's an advertising. It's a camera and a radio? Does it take pictures as well? Or is it just a... Oh no, that's a cassette player? My gosh, I'm losing my brain here, guys. Polaroid Color Plus Instant Film. Okay, so you'd think that would also take pictures somehow, yet it's a radio. Well, I don't have this one figured out. The radio part, that's easy. It could just be that it's a promotional thing. Anyway, kind of an oddball little unit that is. Probably people watching at home are going, Alex, that is not for taking pictures with. That's probably some sort of battery compartment or something. Anyway, now I'm curious. I'll have to play around with that a little bit later on. But more than that, I've got to start getting this stuff cleaned up because it's still a big mess in here. Now, something a little bit on the different side, there were several cases of, well, Barbie cases, and I'm not sure if the Barbies are going to be in here or not. Let's find out. Oh, well, there's one. And actually, she looks more like a 1960s. Is that Skipper? Somebody at home can help me. She looks a little bit older, but anyway, there's a little bit of stuff in that case. Let's see if there's anything in this one. What year are these cases from? I think this other one said 1968 on it. Okay, there's another Barbie there. We've got some extra clothes. I feel like we'll add some of that to that set to make it a little bit more complete. Add a little bit more interest to it. There's a few other little dolls in here too that aren't Barbie. Looks like an Oompa Loompa doll, almost. And what you want to look for with the early ones are, generally they have a date mark stamped on the back, so she'll have to forgive me for checking. Pardon me while I check your rump for a date stamp. Never ask that on a first date, it might not go well. Mattel Company, this one's dated 1968. So that's a 1960s doll. And we've got another case here too. Let's see. Oh, we got a few Barbies in here. Kind of more 1980s. That looks like, is it Jem? The rock star? Anyway. No original 1950s Barbies. This looks like a 1980s talking. Wow, where is she headed? dressed like that with a jetpack on her back. That's some adventure that only Barbie needs to know about. Okay, gonna get that package back up. We'll get those out the door. Here's another little curious box. It's quite old. And inside we have, it says Chinese Games Company, made in Canada. Okay, so they look like they're inlaid. And I believe these are Mahjong tiles. I've never actually played before. I'm sure somebody watching home has played many times. I've never played this game, but I believe that's an antique Mahjong set, which is pretty cool. Nice decorations. Look like they used about 4 different colors in their printing process here. The red, the green, the blue. Actually, I only see red, green, and blue. Oh no, maybe black as well. So 3 or 4 colors used on that palette, and looks like it was played with. We got some tiles that are a little bit more worn than others, and obviously a cool little set, and it's got its nice original box too, so we'll get that out. Now that I've got a little bit more counter space here, I can show you what these are. Now, if you probably know, maybe you don't know, back in the 70s and 80s, Hot Wheels put out these little carry cases. These were great. If you were going on vacation, you could pack your cars in here, go on a trip, and you'd have your own little city basically wherever you go. Let me get it opened up. Now there's little feet that come out on the bottom, like so. And this one is a service station. So when you put your car down the track, in fact, I'll see, my wife is here, Melissa's here,
snooping,
watching me play with toys. This is what I do now. This is my life. I don't know why I'm telling you like that you don't know. So when you put the car down the track, whoop, oh, you'd have to have a better roll than that, I guess. Get a little bit more pepper on there. Anyway, the idea would be, if you get it just right with the right kind of car, it would come down and ring the service bell, and Al, apparently, would come out of there and he'd fix your car up. Now, I can't tell you how many countless numbers of these I've had over the years, and I recall even packing my cars in the garage like that and then going on a trip to Grandma's house. You even got the little car wash here with the brushes. It comes back around. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm a big kid. This should be no surprise to you. But yeah, you got the elevator, the ramps, everything. Now, I think my older brother had that set. I had this one. And what was cool about this is you had this little, where did the dumper thing go? Oh, it goes right here. Hard remembering where all this stuff is meant to go. So you got a little crane. The original hook on this is gone. Somebody's creatively used a paper clip. I guess it would still do the same thing. That sets in there when you're not using it. And again, you got the little truck service center. It goes down the track, but it turns into this gravelly kind of road. There were these little sort of plastic pieces that went in, so it looked like you were building a little tower there. But my mom would give me cornmeal, and we'd fill that up, and I'd have my little dump truck here, and I'd fill that with the cornmeal. Good times, good memories, and always had a lot of fun with these. I'm sure somebody would like having this back in their collection too. And of course, you want to advertise what you have. You got the little sign that pops up right there, which is also doubling as a carry handle. Fun little set. In this box, it's more Fisher-Price toys, where you've got the little wind-up music boxes, still working. I guess you could carry that around, pretend it was a transistor radio when you were a little kid, listening to that one song over and over. And then you've got the teaching clocks, and I swear kids nowadays need this, because try and get them to read normal hands on a clock. It's like trying to teach a mouse to do acrobatics. It's possible, but it ain't easy. I feel like they should reintroduce this exact Fisher-Price toy back into high schools now. Anyway, there's 3 of them in here and a couple little radio units as well. So lots of fun stuff that we're getting together for this sale. I kind of was sorting through the box I had full of just generic stuff. I found a few cool things like this vintage promotional Jeep coaster set. And we've got some Singer sewing machine accessories, like some extra feet. And this one maybe was a buttonholer. Let's see. Yep, buttonholer with all the accessories. Those are cool. There was a little transistor radio in there. And then there was this curious object, which it's an aperture, and it opens and closes. It's quite large, as you can see. So you might be asking, well, what purpose would this serve? Well, Kliegel Brothers, New York, they made stage equipment. So this is likely an opening and closing aperture for a spotlight. So you can have a larger or more narrow spot. And it's just adjustable just like that. So I don't have the lamp that goes with it, but kind of a cool thing nonetheless. And of course, still working. The brass that's on here is a little bit corroded and could use a little TLC, but that's kind of a neat historic piece. They go back to the 1800s. This one I don't think is anywhere near that old, although you never know. It's not like I'm an expert on that stuff, but it's cool. This box is a little bit heavier. I think I can see the reason why. It is jam-packed full of old radios. So I guess I better get my extension cord back out and test these guys. What do we have here? Oh gosh, there's a whole pile of them in here. The cords are a little bit tangled. 1950s Motorola. I can see some 1940s shapes. Oh, maybe that's might be a good one down to the bottom there. That kind of looks like a Crosley dashboard. I'm not sure. Okay, let's get these things out and look at them. Okay, well, here's a little assortment of radios that was in that box. 1950s RCA Victor. We've got a couple other, you start getting into the plastic away from the Bakelite. That's Philco. That's a Bakelite radio, a little bit heavier. Of course, this 50s clock radio, Motorola. But yes, I was right. That was a Crosley dashboard at the bottom. And to put it in perspective, a Crosley dashboard like this is much more desirable. As you can see, it's got sort of, the reason they call it the dashboard is because they made it look like the dashboard of a car. Now, I can feel that that's not quite, okay, it's turning on, but it's not moving. It might need a little repair, but it's worth putting some money into because a radio like that is probably worth about 3 times what these other radios are. So I'm gonna put that kind of in my special pile for now, and then we'll come back to it later on, but that was a good score at the bottom of that box. So as of right now, we are about 2.5 loads of stuff in the truck have gone over to the auction house, equating to just under 200 individual item lots that are gonna be going up for sale. Melissa and I, she's behind me here, have been working very quickly to refill the sorting room again. And very soon we'll go through the new batch of treasures, which are coming out of the trailer. But let me show you, the trailer's still full. It is slowly thinning out in here, and I'm trying to wiggle my way down past the magazines that seem to have fallen. What are these? Spice World, Spice Girl magazine, and I think we had NSYNC here too. Those frosted tips of the hair. Anyway, I'm trying to get back to this little row here because it looks kind of interesting to me to see. Plus, some of these boxes are marked that they've got miscellaneous game cartridges. There's a Commodore 64 here. These are all old video games. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to pick this lot up. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of games in here. Is that old video game stuff is actually really quite collectible right now. And so it's worthwhile to pick up lots like this because, there could be hundreds of games in here. And some of these might sell for, $10, $20, $30 each. Who knows? Sometimes even more, depending upon what the game is. Some of them are on cassette. So we'll get the games in and sorted. But I'm digging my way through, and then hopefully we can get back and see what's back in that direction over there. I think it's safe to say that's the final load for this episode. Melissa is making off with a fire truck. Yeah. What's the deal?
I just like fire trucks. Class.
Woohoo! Yes, Melissa, of course, a preschool teacher. We're donating that to her preschool so the kids can play.
That is amazing. Yes.
It looked like you thought that was amazing. You were fiddling with.
It's amazing. I'm a little nervous.
Well, it'll last a little while.
They'll really like it.
They'll have fun. Thanks for your help.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right, I'm heading back in. All right, well, before I call it a day, I'm going to do a little bit of snooping and see exactly what we brought in here. It says it's an Atari 2600, which is a video game system. Oh, that's the, oh no, this is a 7800 Pro system. Still takes the cartridges, does have the controllers, but that would have been a little bit more expensive unit. Actually, surprisingly, this stuff was really expensive when it was new, these old video game systems. We have Fisher-Price puzzle sets, looks like a whole box full of them here. Yep. Saw Melissa looking at those. Computer Impulse, instant reaction, or the electronic game of instant reaction. That actually reminds me, I think I saw, oh yeah, good old-fashioned Simon and the Super Simon and a ColecoVision. This, I feel like I'm getting into the wave of the history of computer stuff in here, because we've got the Commodore 64 in its box. A few more little toy sets here, like this Matchbox Mega Blaster. It actually, you put caps in it, and when the cars would go off, it would fire off a cap on the car. Pretty interesting, and it actually has the cap cars inside too. There's 4 of them in there. More old Tonka trucks. Talking Computron from Sears. I guess it's like a speak and spell. Kind of neat. And boxes and boxes and boxes full of old video games. And look at this, they're in their original box. There we go, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, still with its original packaging. And these are all, looks like little handheld games. Split Second, Funtronics Jacks. You know the thrill of playing Jacks? Yeah, we do. Well, guess what? Now you can play Jacks electronically. Yay! See, these handheld games are pretty collectible. There's the old basketball game right there from Mattel. Looks to me like I might have to get a 9-volt battery and test some of this stuff out, but there is a whole pile of that stuff in there. I guess we'll do a little bit more thorough walkthrough in the next episode. But as for me, guys, I'm calling it a day. This was an awful lot of stuff to process, and I still have so much more to go. So I'm going to start building up another truckload of stuff and keep piling it over to the auction house. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you all soon, and as always, bye for now.